While she's doing this, how are we gonna keep everyone else quiet?
That right there, represents the mind. Mine is half full, so I'm very optimistic about things. So that's how I see that. The reason for the earth tones is because I like nature, and my complexion, symbolizes that. I have a very long nose, so I used a wooden flashlight. Uh,
Huge nose.
just took the time to really just appreciate what's around us. It's beauty all around us, even in here.
I, I can appreciate things, seeing them, knowing all the things that we've seen and how so many people struggled to be accepted in the art world. And so just seeing something, knowing how most people had struggled most of their life. And just the bird free.
I gotta be honest, and in all my years here, I'd say 95% of the people that I've met definitely broke the law, they knew they were breaking the law, and, guilty is guilty.
The more people in prison in the United States per capita are population than any country in the world. And you figure, other countries there's ridiculous amounts of people, but per capita, per person in the United States more than anywhere else in the world.
But a lot of people get a bad deal. Whether it's at the front end or at the back end, where they don't get any support. Most guys in here are guilty, but then again, most guys in here came from horrible conditions. Horrible poverty, horrible abuse. And it set them up for, what else are they gonna do but commit crime? And then they don't get, that's never realized, and they don't get, once it comes out, there's no, okay, well now let's try and help you out now.
But in the same respect, you gotta remember too, not everybody in prison comes from a broken background.
Well, everyone's different. The first thing you're gonna do is identify why you're here and do what you have to do to fix that
Accept
problem.
it.
Accept it and move on. Like me, I know I'm here, I'm guilty for what I did. And I think negative actions come from negative thoughts. So again, I think it's all psychological to if you want to fix yourself, you gotta restructure the way you think. And you think positive and you think only positive thoughts and think positive things for your future, that's what you're gonna do.
A lot of people in here, they might not have that family support. They might not have that much family members around for them. They might be from another state.
Before I came here, I was on disability for psychiatric problems and I was taking meds. And when I got here, they took me off all my meds. And that's why I had the nervous breakdown. But if they feel there's just cause, they can go to court, get an injunction, and force you to take the meds. Now me, if I go 3 or 4 days without taking my meds, I'll go over to the Illinois Slater Hospital and they'll inject me.
When you get out of here, you're kind of on sensory overload. And I don't know, I haven't been out yet. I've been here for 9 years. But I've heard from some officers that guys just get to the curb outside of here and they stand there and they don't know what to do. Because they've been in here for so long and they're like scared to step off the curb because they don't have anyone. And then they get home and the colors and they can't go out to eat because the people floating around and they
Transition from prison to the community. You can't just take somebody out of prison that's been here 15, 20, 30 years, and just expect them to go back in the community and be normal.
People realize that somebody taking a 1-year sentence, a 5-year sentence, a 10-year sentence is going to be released. What kind of person do we want to see released? And what do we want those people to be able to do with their time? When you see that 50% or more of the people who enter prison don't even have GEDs, that right there is a massive statement with real implications. How did they miss out? Well, okay, there's a million stories in the naked city. So first thing we have to do is get them a GED. Number one, get somebody a high school diploma. For God's sake, it's the first step to being able to do anything.
If you're in here and you're making the effort to go take a class, to get involved in doing stuff, at least you have that initiative, it's there. So to me, as I've been around, that's an indication of guys who have a shot.
For me, getting my GED in here and working towards my degree, it's to prove to myself that I'm not the piece of shit that the society thinks I am. By accomplishing something, by getting my degree and getting my GED and stuff like that, I'm able to accomplish, I'm showing that I'm doing something. I am somebody, I can do something with my life.
His whole thing is to make use of the inmate's time while they're here. I mean, if a man or a woman gets a 5-year sentence, they shouldn't just be sitting in their dorm, in their bunk, in their cell, or lifting weights out in the yard. They should be moving forward in some way in their life.
A lot of things you hear from guys when they come back, they're always saying, oh, it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard out there, it's so hard. And what I think to myself, and I know life is hard. Life's supposed to be hard. Everyone who's at 3% of the country is in prison. Everyone else isn't. So, you know, and we forget that because this becomes our own little world. And that means 97% of the country is out there in the hard world, making it however they're making it. So I prepare myself. I know it's going to be hard. And the biggest thing I do is I'm ready for the no's. I'm ready to have 100 no's before I get one yes. And a lot of guys in here, they get out and maybe they're not emotionally ready to deal with the world, and they don't realize it's not going to be easy like it's on TV. You're not going to go out there and someone's going to put you on a reality show. You're not going to go out there and make a hit record. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And they hear the first no, and they crumble and say, I'm going to go sell drugs. No one's going to give me a chance. Well, how many jobs did you go to? Well, one, but the guy said no.
There you go.
Guys don't, it's hard. Life is hard. If you're not willing to work, then come here and hang out where you don't have to work. So I'm ready for the no's because I know I'm going to get them. Before I came in here, I got a lot of no's. I know I'm going to get more when I get out, but someone's going to say yes eventually.
In the back of my mind, I still think people like when you present it to them, they're gonna still look at you like you're wasting your time. This is like it's probably bullshit. They're just angry at us because they're in there and we're out here. But you know, majority of us in here, well, I can say for myself, you know, I've accepted what I've done, and I'm taking responsibility for it, and I can, you know, hold my head up high and admit, you know, my guilt and what I did wrong.
I want to know if anybody even asked you.
Like before, ended up coming up in prison.
Absolutely. What'd you want to be when you grew up?
Well, like I said, ever since I was little, I always knew like I wanted to be my own boss because I don't like being told what to do. But look at where I'm at. Yeah, but like I've never really had anybody ask me, you know, what I wanted to be when I got older. You know, a lot of things in here that I've learned that, you know, my public school deprived me of. A lot of education and a lot of history that, you know, like when I came in here, like I never seen the movie Roots, or I didn't even know what that was. So I had like officers and inmates talking to me about that, and I'm like, Roots? I'm like, what the hell is that? And they're like, yo, it's about African and this and that. I was like, nah. It's like, they're like, yo, your public school didn't show you that? I was like, I don't know. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, we don't see movies in school.
People on the street are always like, put them in jail, lock them up, they shouldn't get anything, they should be treated like crap, they shouldn't have food, they shouldn't have TVs, they shouldn't have any kind of comfort. But what they forget is that everyone in here, with very few exceptions, are going to be leaving here at some point in time. And we're going to be living in those neighborhoods. We're going to be living next door to the same people that said, I don't want these guys to have any hope, any belief that their future can be any different. I just want them to suffer.
Public sentiment goes up and down. I did a little bit of reading about this because this whole field kind of really started to interest me. So I read the book on Rhode Island incarceration, the history of the DOC. And like in other parts of the country, public sentiment goes up and down. In the 70s, they were like, lock them up and throw away the key. And then in the 80s, they started to say, wait a minute, after Attica and so forth, they were like, wait a minute. We need to be a little bit more thoughtful about how these people are going to spend their time. They're going to be getting out. Okay. Currently, public sentiment is pretty sympathetic to educating incarcerated offenders.
Being taken out of society is really punishment. And if you don't give guys hope that their lives can be any different, they're going to come back to your neighborhood, and that guy's going to be living right next door to you, and he's going to rob your house, he's going to sell your kid drugs, because it's short-sighted. You have to want guys in jail to have a hope that they can do something other than commit crime when they leave. And I think that's the real problem with how society views people in prison.
We're going to spend $30,000 to $50,000 a year incarcerating them. Can we spend another $1,000 educating them? time to kill, we have a college program. Let's see if college has anything for you. Does it? Do you have the ability? Do you have the interest? Are there directions you might go? Okay, that's why I'm here. And on a minuscule budget, I always like to say this, on a very small budget, I'm able to put all these things together and make them work. There's sort of two major aspects to my program. One is the vocational technical courses, which we try to offer to the men in minimum and the women in women's minimum, because they're getting out the soonest. Give them some hard skills they can actually use on the outside. And about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5, we started the building construction program. And I found 2 of the most fantastic instructors that anyone could have teaching this program, college or otherwise. One of them is a certified green builder. We got the National Building Association certification on it a couple of years after we started, when they recognized what we were doing. I see students on campus all the time who have studied in my program, and now they're on the CCRI campus, or they're at RIC, Rhode Island College. And I also am always getting calls from inmates saying, oh, you know what, I took that OSHA workplace safety class and I lost my card, and now I've got a job offer and I need that card. I need to show them that card. Fantastic, I'll get you the card, I'll get you a replacement right now. That's just telling me that there's something that they've gotten while they were here that worked on the outside. As far as success on the outside, you know, I don't have the time to do that kind of research. There is a research division to the DOC that has reports on this. In fact, there was a recent one that said recidivism was dropping, return rates to prison were dropping, and as always, those that studied high school and got a GED while in prison, the recidivism rates were lower. Those that studied college of any type, any level, number of credits accumulated, whatever, the recidivism rate is even lower. I mean, this is the old liberal arts question. Well, what do you do with a degree in sociology, in history? Well, I don't know. What do you do anyway? Do you want to learn? Do you want to grow? Are these things interesting to you? Are they directly hooked into a job? Yes, no. I mean, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but maybe the value of education alone is enough. And it must be, because then again, we can always fall back on the statistic that shows us that high school degree recipients earn this much, and high school and post-high school college recipients earn this, and master's degrees earn this, so there must be some sort of connection there beyond just the value of education. There is an economic payoff to those things. So all the facts to me point in that direction. There's a guy in Medium who, I don't really know what his story is. He's an older gentleman, and he'd never even considered school of any kind, drop out in 8th grade. Got his GED because he sort of was pressured into it. He was here, get your GED. Then he came to talk to me, and we talked about a few things, and he said, boy, I've always been interested in, you know, the environment and what's happening. You are, I said? Well, do you know that you can study environmental science, which is a combination of geography, geology, and biology, and climatology, and all these things? Oh, no, I didn't. Takes a class, loves it. Can't even believe, opens his mind, gets an A. Next class, something connected or not connected, I don't know. He works his way through the requirements of an AA like anyone else. Oh my God, I never knew that, you know, history had all these dimensions to it besides just the facts they gave you in school. Now he's opened his mind to that. This guy might be 70 when he gets out. I don't know. Can he use any of that? Economically speaking, job-wise, I don't know. I sort of doubt it. Can he use it? Absolutely. He's using it. And again, if you're going to consider these people human beings with, you know, their lives are developing and happening just like anyone else's, what are we going to let them? And we're not talking about spending a lot of money on letting them do this. This guy is, in a sense, reforming himself just by opening the parameters or what he thought life had for him, or what life could offer. And if it comes out of a textbook, which it did for him, it came out of a textbook, and he was a new man. I think that's a good use of time. I think that's a good use of his 5 years.